and welcome to today's episode. I'm so excited to talk to you about the third eye chakra or the sixth chakra, as a lot of us might know this. Now, this chakra has some amazing capabilities. If you are really wanting to tap into your intuition or have a clear direction about your life, then the third eye chakra really is the center of all of that. So before we dive in, if you are new here, I really welcome you to this channel. If you're returning, thank you so much. I am Kanika. I'm an energy coach and an Akashic Records reader. If you are interested in information like this, please do subscribe so that we can stay connected. All right, getting on to it. What does the third eye chakra really do? And before I start explaining the abilities, let me give you an example. Think of the dance floor and think of the balcony, right? Dance floor is going to be like literally on the ground, and balcony is going to be a lot higher up. When we are living life in the balcony, we are able to see from upstairs what is really happening. If you're experiencing life in the dance floor, you know, for example, who's dancing in a funny fashion, who is bothering you, who you are getting attracted to. You understand that, but you don't really understand the bigger story. And the third eye chakra is literally about stepping into the balcony so that you are able to see a much bigger picture about your life. Now, what do I mean by that? Let me give you practical examples here. Think of yourself in a traffic jam, and when you are just stuck in the traffic jam, you don't really know why you're stuck, why traffic is not moving. You don't know if there was an accident, how far ahead the accident is. You don't know what has caused the accident. Maybe there was a tree that fell on the highway. You have no idea, right? But if you could fly above and then you could just look, you would understand how many cars are there, what is your shortest way to get out, and what's really happening behind the scenes. So that's what the clairvoyance or the ability to see in the third eye chakra helps you to do. You are able to get a much fuller picture of what is happening in your life. When we are living life from the dance floor or literally from our lower chakras, then we are very much impacted by whatever is happening around us, with us. Who is commenting in a certain way? What are people saying? What is the judgment? And that really impacts us because we are literally in the dance floor. We are at the place where all the drama, all the action is happening. So life can be very dramatic and life can feel a lot full on, right? But when you are in the balcony or when your sixth chakra is activated, that time you have a lot of neutrality. You're really able to understand the big picture. When you are in the lower chakras, then life is a lot reactive because somebody did something, some situation happened that way, and then you had to act in a certain way. You will also find that you are putting out a lot of fires. But as you rise above, then there is a lot more flow in your life, a lot more ease, and you just generally understand why something happened. Now, this is not to say that only good things will happen, because good things, bad things, that's a very human thing to say. The soul is not really thinking in terms of good and bad. Soul is thinking in terms of evolution, and I'll explain that in just a minute. But when you are in your sixth chakra, when you are acting from that evolved place, then you're really able to understand the story. You're able to understand that, hey, if your partner reacted in a certain way, what is going underneath that reaction? What are the bigger triggers that they are facing? What is it that you need to learn? You can be a lot more reflective, introspective, and you can shift your life that way. So the sixth chakra is a lot around less reaction, more being in your calmness, in your groundedness, in your centeredness, and having a fuller understanding of what is happening in the world around you. So you're not as reactive, and yet the world will seem to go a lot your way because now you are seeing where you need to evolve and you are working on that. You're doing those things. So life will get a lot easier and actually a lot more fun, a lot more enjoyable, a lot more bigger than you as well, if I can say that, because there is a momentum that you have when you are wanting to control your life. And then there is a natural flow, there's a natural evolution in the universe, which is around expansion, which is around your growth, learning, evolution, harmony, love. And all of that will start flowing through you because you're tapping into this larger flow. Now, let me break this first. When I'm talking about evolution and I'm talking about the difference between us feeling that in the dance floor or in the body, in our physical experiences, and how is that different? So think of an apple and break that down into like 1,000 pieces. And now pick up one slice from this apple. This slice represents your lifetime, you in the body. The apple actually represents your soul. So, this is your story. And often, when we are in the balcony or when we are operating from our lower chakras, we are literally just seeing ourselves as the little apple slices. But that apple slice is so thin, it does not even begin. It begins maybe to cover the story, but it's really little, right? So, when we are in the higher chakras, we are able to tap in more into the soul aspect of it, meaning we are able to really tap in why are we getting that experience. So let me nut that out with another example. Let's say you happen to go somewhere and you lose a ring. Now, if you are just looking at that incident alone, you would say, oh my God, that's a terrible experience. I lost my ring. Right? If you are in your higher, more evolved chakras, you will start looking at, well, why did this happen to me? And not from a victim perspective, but more from this curiosity of what is it that you really want to learn and evolve as a soul. And it might just be that, well, you lost the ring because your soul needed to experience loss. It needed to evolve from that. It needed to know that experience of losing something. So when you are that aware, then chances of you getting traumatized by that is a lot lesser because you understand the bigger picture. Whereas if you really take things that are happening and you take them personally, which can happen a lot more easily if you're operating in the lower chakras, you tend to get scarred by them. If I come back to the apple, the more it's traumatized, it starts getting the cuts, it starts getting rotten. And so your lifetime, like when you cut the apple out and bring that little slice out, that's going to have that impact as well. But the more and more you're healing your story, the more and more you're healing and understanding yourself, your apple is actually getting healthier. Your life is getting healthier. And hence, this chakra is a lot around just being a lot more aware, really seeing. That's why it is placed here. So where the third eye chakra is, you sort of go in the center of your eyebrows and then go all the way back till your spinal cord in the center. That's the center of your third eye chakra. So it's really around the higher vision, the perspective, really knowing, understanding why things are happening a certain way. Whatever perceived negative things are happening, you would understand, well, why they're happening, what is the bigger evolution, because your soul is not really trying to harm you, it's not trying to punish you, rather it's taking you towards a path of evolution. Your soul actually wants you to know that the more and more you expand, the more and more you can look beyond the loss and just go through it, like not get damaged by it in the body, not get scarred by it, but just accept it. There is a lot more expansion outside that. And that expansion is into harmony and love and freedom and truth, being your own person, not being attached, not needing to have the ring to feel good. That's the journey that your soul wants you to go on. So it's not trying to punish you, rather it's trying to bring a lot more wholesome evolution into you in this current incarnation. So the third eye chakra is a lot around this higher vision, this perspective. And this is also the place where you start getting a lot of spiritual downloads. And the downloads or the ideas will just come to you, perhaps when you are driving, when you're having a shower, and so on. But you'll find that a lot of the intuitive hits or the new creative ideas that will come to you. The third eye chakra is really linked with the ability of clairvoyance or the ability to get visions. So especially if you are meditating, you would find that when you close your eyes and you look at certain things, you really get the visions, you really see things. And that is such a powerful gift. It's such a blessing when you're able to tap into clairvoyance, because when you see things unfold, you literally see them. You see how they are. A lot of times when we have trouble following our intuition, that trouble is because we sort of feel it's fuzzy. If it is not really tangible for you, it can be harder to trust intuition because we get trained to not trust our intuition. The world is actually wired so differently. So we are almost encouraged to take decisions without the intuition. We are encouraged to act in terms of the milestones of the world, the things that look good, your next dollar, your next salary, your next milestone, whatever that is, getting into a partnership, getting kids, buying a car, so on, right? Hence the natural ability that all of us have to be intuitive. That sort of keeps going down and down with time. But the more you work with your third eye chakra, the more you really step into it, the more that intuition starts coming up. And this is where clairvoyance is really good, because when you are able to see the visions, they just unfold in a certain way. You see them. And it's like seeing a movie, just a little different. I take a lot of students and teach them clairvoyance as well. We start right from scratch and I teach them how to tap in and see their own visions. And when you start seeing, you really start discovering that you have this amazing resource available to you. And it's amazing what clairvoyance does, because whatever answers you're seeking, you stop depending on others. You are really able to tap into yourself and see whether you should make decision A or decision B, because you will sit and you will look at your vision and you will see, well, how does decision A feel like for me? And how does decision B feel like for me? Should I go out with this person I just met? Should I not go out? Should I jump into this venture with my friend or not? You really start getting a lot more understanding because you are able to see, and your soul will give you symbols and visions in a way that make sense to you, that are really tuned to you. You will know that they're really coming from deep inside. They're coming in from your higher self. And hence clairvoyance can be a really good gift in terms of making decisions, in terms of getting clarity. Like for me, when I'm working with my business and anything that I want to do, any decision that I want to make, like what is the next step? What should I really focus my energy on, for example? What media should I reach out to? Everything, I do it based on my clairvoyance. I just look it up in my visions and see which one works best for me and what is in my highest alignment and growth, and for the community as well. So it is a gift that you just take with yourself, you keep with yourself, and it is phenomenal. It changes your life because all of a sudden you don't have to depend on others, but you've got the answers because you're able to see, tune in, tap in. It is like having your secret entrance into a Google Drive that just captures everything. It has all the information about you and anyone else that you are interacting with, and you can use this information to just tap into that. Let's say if you wanted to understand how did Steve Jobs do certain things, you could even use clairvoyance to connect with him as a spirit and then see what are some of his abilities and what in his skill set, what in his abilities applies to you. So it is absolutely powerful. If there are loved ones that you have lost, or loved ones that you want to communicate with, loved ones that you want to heal your relationships with, you can use that with your clairvoyance, because your visions can help you see what's really going on behind the scene. Often we have a relationship experience that is our physical experience, but it's operating out of the energetic programming of that connection. For example, a mom would experience her relationship with her son or her daughter in a certain way, but it's like the programming has been written very much like the program that you would have running on your computer or on your phone, and the programming system would really define a lot of things what you can do. Now let's look at examples here. Let's say you are wanting to work on your relationship with your mom and dad. It's been really toxic. You've separated from one of them or both of them, or there's just something in the relationship that just does not not sit right with you, and you want to heal that without talking to them. Clairvoyance is an amazing way to be able to do that, because what you would do is you would look at your relationship, literally in the visions, you would see your relationship, and then you would start exploring what is going wrong. You would see, for example, some darker energies, and you would explore why those dark energies are. You can ask in there if there is some past life program, past life conditioning that's running there, if there's some agreements, there's some contracts that are running there. And the more and more you explore, the more and more you are able to heal, because you get aware, you're able to heal that, bring that to your divine soul blueprint. So what you are effectively doing is that your apple, you're healing your apple. Because if your apple is rotten or bruised, then when you chop it, the slice is going to feel that impact. It's not going to be the healthiest slice when you take it out, right? And your interaction with someone else, your mom or your dad, is like their apple as well. What does their apple look like? Now, for sure, you cannot heal them, like in a sense, because it is their free will how they operate, but you can definitely bring them to love and light, and you can give them that choice where they can step into that place and be more accepting if they want to. But the connection that you have between these two apples, your apple and your parents, that connection definitely is in your right. It's in your space. So you can look at that. You can look at what's really going on with your clairvoyance, and then you can start healing it. So that's the amazing possibilities that can happen with your third eye chakra. Now, these are just some of the snippets. I could just go on, but I think I could just sit here for another hour giving you a lot more examples around how to use your clairvoyance. But let me now just talk around what this chakra really does. So let me now talk about what a blocked third eye chakra would mean. A blocked third eye would mean that you feel confused, that you are not really sure what path to follow. It also just means that you are very susceptible to others outside you, meaning that if your partner says something, if your kids say something to you, if your mentor, your boss says something to you, you really get impacted by that because you really rely on them a lot more to feel your own worth. So marketing, fake news, that has more of a chance to get to you. You would end up buying things that you don't need. You would end up making decisions that you later on regret. And that's mainly happening because you're not really aligned with your inner compass. Your inner compass gets aligned with your third eye chakra being activated because you're able to see, because you're able to distinguish between a truth and a lie. You're really able to see, well, this is my path forward. If I do this, this is what's going to happen. You will have the clarity. What happens if you take up the new promotion or you take up a separate job altogether? You will be able to see in your visions how you will feel internally. And that's a game changer, right? Like that's not something you could put down on an Excel sheet. And even if you did all the calculations around salaries and so on, it is not picking up these softer aspects of how would you feel. With your third eye chakra activated, you start understanding what's really going on. If you took up the promotion, how would you feel with the team? How would you feel yourself? What are your future prospects? Because you get to see yourself in that vision. You get to really see what your boss would be like, what even the next steps there on will be like. And hence anybody else's ability to influence you or rule over you, that sort of goes away because you've just seen something in a vision so clearly and you understand that so clearly. You get that clarity around what a certain step would mean to you. So that's literally like having your own power, your own agency back, and you not having to rely as much on others because someone else might have been really successful doing all the videos on YouTube or whatever their recipe for success is. And why do they work for a lot of people, but maybe they also don't work for a lot of people? And that's because that recipe is not aligned to your soul. Maybe somebody else, their purpose, their alignment was to be on YouTube and be the biggest star. And maybe it is for you, maybe it is not for you. So what activating this chakra means is that you're really able to tap into your alignment. What is your highest growth path? What is it that is your unique essence? What is your unique magic? It helps you tap into that, understand that, and bring more of that into the world, which just takes you away also from being influenced by other people. You get a lot more clarity around yourself. You also understand in that clarity the steps that you are supposed to take, the baby steps and the bigger steps, so that you can get to your next level. So it's just a total game changer. Now, if you have a blocked sixth chakra, there are some other physical symptoms that you might have as well. For example, you might have eye issues, you might have dry eyes, you might be not able to see. You might have headaches. When you are thinking, you might just feel that you lose your train of thought often because this whole center is getting impacted. So, I have almost talked around what an activated third eye chakra would look like, but let me just sum it up very quickly. An activated sixth chakra would mean that you have clarity on your next steps, that you just really know this is what I need to do. You can see it, you can understand the smaller steps to it, you can understand the bigger steps to it. And it would also mean that you are not so easily dissuaded. You are not buying things, doing stuff that is not in your alignment, that you later on go and regret. Even if someone else tells you something and they're very close to you, sort of in your inner circle, you would still be able to make your own judgment call. An activated sixth chakra also means that you are generally balanced and grounded because you're able to see things at a much wider level. And here, if I give an example, it's almost like you being a child, and you see how kids can be just in the moment, they can react however they want to react. Whereas, let's say if you think of a priestess or a priest, they would be a lot more grounded. They're not going to just have a temper tantrum in a shopping mall. So they would understand the bigger picture, and then they're able to really act from that balanced and grounded place. Because when you're balanced and grounded, that's when your channels, your ability to tap into the higher information that's really working. And that brings me to the next point. You would have the higher level perspective, you would have the bigger picture. Even if you were doing something that is fundamentally new to you, that is fundamentally foreign, let's say, to what you've done so far in your life, you would still have this knowingness, this awareness that, okay, this is how it's going to be. This is how it will work out because you have seen it, you get the clarity, and you will have a sense of trust in the universe. Now, a lot of times, the problems that we feel in our internal life, the control that we are either trying to do or we are feeling from someone else, that is coming because we are almost doing an opposite dance. We are almost pushing the universe. To us, it feels like life is happening to you. So anything that happens, let's say the ring that was lost, and you feel like you've got to control. I've got to have some ways in which I don't lose my other valuables again. Whereas the universe actually has its own rhythm, and the flow of the universe is around love, is around abundance, is around freedom, it is around truth. But it's almost like a silly fight that we have. Life will do what it's supposed to do, right? Life will go on. We can never control the outcome. Even in the ring example, there is limited stuff that you can do in terms of controlling your valuables. If things had to happen, there could be different things. There could be a fraud that happens, and suddenly you find that your money is taken away from the bank. The universe has a flow, it has a natural flow. And you, in your body, are a very tiny person if you are trying to manage that flow. Think of yourself in front of a beach for a moment. And imagine as if you're trying to control the water. Now, it does not matter. You could try and try and try. You could put up wooden planks there and go like, well, I'm not going to let water flow. But the water, when it has to flow, it will flow, right? So we sort of do this dance with the universe. And we do it for different reasons. We are wired like that. We don't have trust in the universe. We feel like we might get scarred. And we have had those experiences. That's why we have those fears. Nothing that we feel in our lives is just coming out of nothing. Every fear, every belief is rooted in something that has happened in your life, this lifetime or previous lifetimes, but that has been in your story, that has been in your DNA. That is why you feel that. So there is a valid reason why we try and control the outside. But if you look at the apple as such, And if you want to have the healthier apple, the only way is to trust it because it has a lot more flow. You cannot control the water on the beach, you just cannot control life. And if you flow with the universal flow, then things just get a lot more easier. What your soul is wanting to help you is in your journey towards expansion, in your journey towards love, towards freedom. The more and more you actually trust into the flow of the universe, into your natural flow as the soul, into your divine purpose, the more you will find that life just works out for you a lot easier. You don't have to spend time or effort putting in those guards against the water, but you can just be. When you have the balanced chakra, you will feel that you have the sense of trust with the universe. You will feel like the universe has got your back. You start feeling different instead of feeling that life is not working for you, that life is happening to you, that all the tragedies happen. And my dear friend, even if you lose the ring, once you've learned the lesson, your soul, the universe is going to reward you 10 times, 100 times, 1,000 times for that thing because they're literally taking you through this energetic veil. It's like a rite of passage. They take you through that because then they're helping you expand into the next level. But once you've done your level, you really get to the next expansive level. So there's so much more that's going to come back to you. All right, let's look at the next things. What happens with an activated chakra? Yeah, so you do feel like you are part of the bigger cosmos. Also, the other thing that I wanted to point out with this chakra is that this is a feminine chakra. The more your sixth chakra is activated, or for that matter, any of your feminine chakras are activated, the more you will have a sense of ease and flow into your life because feminine energy is very much that. It's very creative. The ideas will flow easily and it's also very magnetic. So the good experiences that you want to have in your life, the opportunities, they will start coming a lot more easier to you if you have a balanced sixth chakra. So I'm sure now you're wondering, well, how can I start balancing or activating my sixth chakra? So let's look at some tips. Now, first of all, we are all naturally intuitive. Let me repeat that. We are all naturally intuitive. You were born intuitive. So it's not something that is foreign to you. You knew that, go back to your decisions, go back to even the regrets that you have today. But there was something in you that told you that don't do this. You sort of knew inside that you shouldn't do this and you went ahead and you did it anyway. And that's not just you, that's all of us, by the way. What is happening is that we have this natural intuition in us, but as we keep growing and living through life, we acquire this behavior of not tuning in to our intuition anymore. We just don't follow through it because there is a logical decision that seems like that's the right thing to do. And that takes us away from our intuition. For your intuition to really start working, you want to start following it as well. Don't just take the guidance and then ignore it because then you are invalidating your intuition. The universe is not going to spend time trying to give you clarity if you are not really listening to it, right? It's got a lot more people to look after. So the first step that you can do is that whatever intuition you are getting, you listen to it and you start acting on the little steps that you can do. And then the bigger reason why we all block our third eye chakra, because as amazing as all of these abilities seem, it is also a protection mechanism. We can be in denial. Sometimes we might see things that we don't really want to see. You might want to really feel that your partner truly deeply loves you. You, at some level, might still want to pretend that he loves you. So you are blocking your ability to see and be aware of what's really happening. So sometimes we block that because we don't want us to get hurt. Now, the only way through to having more expansion is walking your way through that door, right? Owning this ability more. Because what you're really doing when you are denying yourself this ability to see, when especially with your loved ones, you don't really want to see the full truth, you will not get the full truth if you don't want to see it. What you're really doing there is you are just giving permission to more lies to be in your space. And then suddenly more and more and more lies come in your space and they're making like a curtain around your ability to see, and you stop seeing. You stop getting those messages because you have just blocked it yourself. So what you can start doing is you can start cleaning out the lies. A practice that you can do here, imagine going into the center of your head and taking like a cotton wool and cleaning away the lies in your space, in your head, in front of your eyes, any of the lies, any of the false programming that is coming to you. You can just practice, imagine cleaning it out, then take that cotton bud out, throw it out of your space. That's one easy way to do it. And again, to intensify that, you would just imagine cleaning your third eye as well. So I already explained where the third eye was. You would just imagine really cleaning the whole chakra as well, so that you can expand your ability to see. You can expand your ability to understand more about the future and have a bigger insight around your life and what's really happening in this story to really be on the balcony. You can also intensify this practice by using an indigo or a violet flame, because third eye really works well with the sacred flame. So you could just imagine a stream of indigo or violet flame that's coming, and that's just really falling onto your third eye chakra and really cleaning it and cleansing it. So, those are some of the hacks. If you really want to go deeper into it, I have a workshop, a 2 hour workshop where I go really deep and we just look at third eye chakra. It is a very sacred space where the space is held by me, my spirit guides, and a lot of other light beings and goddesses who join together so that we can really activate your third eye chakra. So you will walk away with activating your third eye chakra, having a lot of cool techniques to be able to really expand your ability to have these visions more and more, because you want to be in your power. And more importantly, what you are doing by activating your third eye chakra is that you are really tapping into your own power, your own agency. Like, what is it you're supposed to do in your life? Your purpose, your light. How do you spread that more? How do you have more shine and enjoy the life that you came here to have? So, I hope that has really inspired you. If you liked this episode, please go ahead, leave a review, maybe even share that with your friends. Also, if you would want to reach out to me, have a chat around what's really going on in your life, then you can reach out to me at artoflifecenter.com/call. And in this session, we're going to have just a very non salesy interaction around what's happening in your life. What are the energetic ties that are holding you back? What's really happening below the surface that you don't know? I'll shed light on some of those, and then we'll see how to proceed and the next steps. Let's stay in touch. Till next time, you keep shining and smiling. I am Kanika, your energy coach.